Good morning, traders, and welcome to NewsWare's Trade Talk for Tuesday, November 18th. Okay, let's get into the action. Let's take a look at the S&Ps. The S&Ps are essentially at trading session lows. We're down 0.58% this morning. We're really following the global markets lower this morning. There's no real significant news event that's causing this sell-off, but all global markets are weak this morning. In the price action, hey, it's continued to display weakness in tech and financials. That's what's lower across the board. Odds of a Fed rate cut, hey, they've fallen to, 46%. I mean, yesterday we heard from Fed governors Waller and Jefferson. They both are leaning towards a rate cut in December. Waller is like pushing real hard for that Fed chairmanship. He's out there doing whatever he needs to do in order to try and secure that position. I still don't think he's going to get it. Wednesday afternoon, Thursday morning, that's going to be the key days for this market, because you got NVIDIA's earnings coming out, and then you get the non-farm payrolls for September due out. So those two are going to be a big catalyst for the markets on Thursday morning. Today, let's talk about President Trump. You know who he's meeting with? He's meeting with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia today. That's interesting. Microsoft's Ignite conference, it starts today. Oracle is having its shareholders meeting today on the earnings front. MDT, Medtronic, and Futu, they're both trading higher after earnings reports. HD and PDD are trading lower. And tomorrow morning, you got TJ Maxx, you got Target, you got Williams-Sonoma, you got Lowe's. They're all scheduled to report. Okay, let's take a peek and see what's happening over in Europe this morning. And honestly, we're seeing, we're seeing red across the board in Europe. There are no real safe markets this morning. You're looking at the DAX, and the DAX is down 324 points. That's 1.38%. You're looking at the FTSE, it's down 1.37%. You're looking at the CAC, it's also down 1.37%. What's weak? Financials. What's weak? Tech. That's and in the FTSE, you're also seeing some weakness in the mining sector. I will point that out. Turning over to Asia last night, again, all of the Asian markets were lower. Japan fell 1,620 points. That's 3.22%. Hong Kong fell 454 points. That's 1.72%. And the Shanghai Composite fell 0.81%. I mean, in Japan, tourism, tech stocks, they're moving lower. In Japan, they're seeing, a bunch of sector losses as well. And, their trade relations with Japan are really at a low because, China came out and they said yesterday that they're going to put they put a travel alert on their citizens traveling to Japan, and that's really causing some contentious right now. This tech rally, it's really starting to show signs of fatigue. Watch for a rotation out, maybe into healthcare or something. Now we're turning our attention over to oil, and we're looking at oil this morning. And oil went from lower. It was about a tenth or 0.2% lower, and then it went higher. And now it's mixed. I mean, you got Brent crude at $59, and you get WTI at $59.94. You get Brent at $64.17. There's something to watch here. Obviously the Russia situation with that drone strike, that's resolved because that port's back in operation. But that's not the only factor. Also, we got a slew of economic data coming out, which could affect oil prices, which is why, we're seesawing between gains and losses. And then on the 21st, you've got that the sanctions, the U.S. sanctions on on countries that are importing Russian oil, which could be up to 500%. That's scheduled to take effect. So we got some real concerns with Russian oil happening. And they are a major producer. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see oil prices start to ebb higher between now and Friday. All right, with that out of the way, we're going to turn our attention over to earnings, and we're going to take a look at earnings reports. We get Medtronic, MDT. That was my stock of the day. They beat by 5 cents, and they did that on higher revenue. You look at MDT, it's up 4.28% this morning. You look at Home Depot, HD, Henry David, they missed by 9 cents, although they did do it on higher revenue. But Stock's down 3.86% this morning. Upcoming, you got a number of good reports coming out tomorrow. You got Williams-Sonoma, WSM, their EPS is $1.85. Expected move is 10.48%. You got Target, TGT, Tom Grace Tom. Their EPS is $1.76 and expected move is 9.83%. And TJ Maxx, ticker TJX, their EPS is $1.22. Expected move is 4.38%. In terms of economic data, 8:55 you get the Johnson Red Book on retail sales. 4:30 p.m. you get the API oil inventories report coming out. You're going to hear from Fed Governor Michael Barr this morning at 10:30 a.m. Then at 11, Richmond Fed Bank President Thomas Barkin will be speaking. And then this evening at 7:55 p.m., Dallas Fed Bank President Leroy Logan will be giving a speech. Okay, we're turning our attention over to the markets this morning. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 7 higher, 1 unchanged. Means I got 22 lower. So look, it's a sea of red out there. And then you're looking at, your FANG stocks this morning, and small gains in Apple. Google's still be able to pull out a little bit of green. Everything else is trading lower. You're looking at some of the news behind the tape, and the reason why Apple's moving a little higher is because they're said to have taken 25% market share from China's smartphone markets in the month of October. Good for Apple. Then you got Amazon. Amazon's a little weak this morning. Stock's down about 2.35%. EU regulators have opened up an investigation into Amazon and Microsoft on their cloud computing dominance. Why do they get all the attention? It's because not everyone can do what they're doing. We're talking Dow Jones 30 stocks. We're talking Amazon. They raised $15 billion in their first bond offering in 3 years to fund AI investments. I mean, they have the cash for it, and they're going to be spending on AI investments. The question is, will this large cash spend in AI investments actually pay off? Honeywell, ticker HON. Oh, Honeywell's getting hit. It's down over 2% this morning. They got hit with a double downgrade this morning by a major broker. Not good. Microsoft, ticker MSFT. Stock's down 1.7% this morning. They got that Microsoft Ignite conference that starts today. But my issue with the Microsoft Ignite conference is this. The CEO, Nadella, he's not going to be speaking. So that kind of pours a little bit of cold water on this event for me today because I'm not going to be hearing from the CEO. So it lowers the value of this conference for me. In terms of merger news, I don't really have any merger news, but I did notice something on Barrick Mining, ticker B. Elliott Management has built a $700 million stake in the gold and copper miner. $700 million, ticker B, Barrick Mining. Interesting. In terms of guidance, Medtronic, they released their full year 2026 EPS. I mean, they narrowed, I should say. They narrowed it to $5.62 to $5.66. You know what the street estimate is? $5.62. So that's on the low end. So, yeah, that's really positive. MDT doing nicely. Oracle said to be holding a shareholders meeting. The expected start time is 10 a.m. That's all I'm seeing in terms of news hitting the tape this morning. Okay, let's get into stock of the day. Listen, you got a lot of the retailers coming out. I like Target, but I can't call it for my stock of the day because the data just doesn't line up. But TJ Maxx is interesting to me. Earnings are out tomorrow morning. EPS is $1.22. Expected move is 4.38%. You look at yesterday's call volume, 8,994 calls traded to 2,896 puts. That's positive. And open interest 69K versus 63K. That's still positive. I would like to see a little bit more of that, but it's positive. And then you look at the major brokers. The major brokers are all raising price targets on the stock. That typically leads to good things. And so, now it comes down to an entry price. Now, listen, you got a weak market. You got a market that's going to open up lower. It's going to cause the stock to pull back a little bit. So, in terms of an entry price, I'm going to say 144.40. 144 to 144.40 is kind of my area that I'm going to be paying attention to this morning. I hope to get in there. It's 40 cents wide, but I think if I can get in there, I'll be able to, the stock should start to recover late in the day. Because this session today, there's no real news catalyst that's really causing this market to fall apart. You're going with retail, not tech, so that's kind of, a safer play. But I do like TJX companies, ticker TJX, for my stock of the day this morning. Okay, let's talk about the news hitting the tape in the last 15 minutes or so. OpenAI and Intuit strike strategic partnership, INTU. Trump, people will be allowed to negotiate and buy their own much better insurance. Yeah, that doesn't work. Do you not know that the insurance companies will never? They will. There will be collusion there. There's 40 years of history in that. Ooh, Cloudflare, ticker NET, falls 4% this morning amid widespread server outages. Can't have that. Bitcoin's a weakening, could further over a prospect of Fed rate cuts, but there's no assets behind those instruments. AI cloud company Lambda has raised over $1.5 billion. HD cuts outlook as home improvement slowdown continues. Panera plans to spend millions on better sandwiches in nicer stores. Boeing announces an order by Gulf Air for 15 787 Dreamliners. Fly Dubai is still in talks for dozens of Boeing jets after placing an order with Airbus. All right, what else we got here? HIMS, they removed NVO, Novo Nordisk, from its partner list, as Novo Nordisk is now offering self-pay options. But, this GLP-1 boom is really still in its infancy, and it's likely to continue to rally. And, NVO and Lilly, LLY, they're going to benefit. They're going to benefit. Target investors brace for market share drop, weak sales due to U.S. shutdown. See, that doesn't make sense to me. That the U.S. shutdown would hurt their revenue. I think it would benefit. And also, remember, since the last earnings report, they changed a lot of their operations. They went back to more cashiers from the self-checkout lines, so that was due to, resolve any issues of theft that they were having. So there could be something there with Target, is my point. They made some major changes in their customer service area. Blue Owl Capital shares are down 2% in pre-market, extending losses from the previous session. They're trying to block redemptions from one of its private credit funds ahead of a merger. That's all I'm seeing this morning. Okay, let's move on and let's talk about yesterday's pick of the day, which was MDT, Michael, David, Tom, Medtronic. I mean, listen, you look at the stock this morning, it's up by, 4%. I mean, the stock opened up at $95.82 and it climbed. It fell down to $95.80, like 2 cents lower, but then it just rallied and it climbed up to $97.25 before, finishing today and closing at 96.34. But, after earnings this morning, the stock's, well over 100. MDT's trade right now is trading to do, a little over $100.11, which is like a 4% gain. And, I was looking for an entry price, of 95, 20-ish, give or take 20 cents. It never came close to that. But off the opening price, this thing was a winner. This thing just ran. So MDT, you got to call it a winner. It had a nice move and it's still having a nice move this morning. Okay, traders, that's what I have for you today. You guys know what to do. Let's go out there and let's make some green.